and you've invested enough in that relationship that people will then go, all right, I'll do it. So how many of you are in that boat? How many of you heard that someone said, come to this thing? Yeah. So, with that being said, my name is JC Lippold. My normal bio starts with, I'm a homemaker. When I talk about what I do, I attempt to make what home should be for every person, even though we know most people don't ever get to feel that. So whatever it is that this time is going to be, my intent is to do that. To create a space where you can go, okay, I'm going to be soft enough, open enough, curious enough, nourished enough to consider ideas, thoughts, energy from someone outside myself. I'd love to acknowledge this is Dakota Ojibwa land, which is now White Bear Lake, which is now a space where we can do what we do. And again, we can look at the wellness industry, and I'll go like this, because the wellness industry, in the way that we know it, doesn't necessarily serve a lot of people, nor does it serve a lot of people within a highly sustainable way. Like what Shannon said, and actually Connor, you even brought it up too, investing in relationships that sooner or later may leave you, that has a big impact. Think about how many moments you've taken in your life to consider, I'm going to do this, I'm going to engage in this thought, I'm going to walk down this path, I'm going to link arms with these people for my wellness or for the sake of a collective wellness, and how many of those things have fallen away or left or closed. Hopefully what you're finding today, and this is what we'll spend the next chunk of time doing, we're going to spend some time thinking, and then feeling, and then breathing in the midst of that so it doesn't become automated in our individual work. And then we're going to bring that into this room and go, okay, let's create an interpersonal connection with someone that we do not know yet. Let's call them a stranger. And then we're going to go from that interpersonal connection to a small conversation into what do we notice? And all this is around the idea of, as Shannon shared, around the idea of enoughness. Enoughness being the practice of affirming that you are already indeed enough. Meaning that regardless of what you're going to do right now and the impact it'll have on your tomorrow, or the reason why you're doing it based on what has existed prior, in this moment, there is value in being in this space doing what you do. That's not a pathway to complacency. It's actually the contrary to that. Saying right now, I have a really potent opportunity to be in this moment and to do with it what I can. If we do that every single moment, what ends up happening? We retrain our system to go, oh, I'm not deficient. I'm not incredibly fragile. I'm not going to be capable of doing something tomorrow because I did something today. But saying, right now, here's what I can do, and I'm going to get really sensitively aware of the value of the work of that. Because then all of a sudden, from a visionary to those first followers who say, you know what, crazy man, I'm going to validate your idea by walking alongside you. And all of a sudden, someone like Luke goes from being a person who has an idea to a leader, but not because Luke had the idea, but because people chose to say, you know, I think there's something to that idea, so I'm going to validate it by walking alongside it. That's a great example of enoughness. So, we're going to do 2 different activities. One will engage us in some movement. The second will engage us in some external conversation. How's that sound?
Great.
Cool. This first exercise is going to move us through a circuit 3 times. There's going to be 6 moments in that circuit. The first time we go through the circuit, I'm going to invite you to think about the things you're being invited to do. Why? Because you're not going to know what those things are until they're happening to you. How often do we walk into a new space and we're told, show up and suck. Oh, it's going to be awful at the beginning. Sit in the back and watch. Hey, this is all accessible. Except when you show up, you're going to feel like you have no idea what's going on because it's not accessible because you don't know what the thing is. How do we create a space where we can walk in and be like, I don't know anything, and because I don't know anything, I have a great opportunity right now. Because the second I experience this once, you will never have the opportunity of being the first-time experiencer again. We're going to value the opportunity of being the beginner. The beginner has more questions. The beginner is more sensitive, more nuanced. It's the reason why, does anyone consider themselves to be a consultant in this room of anything? Yeah, the word consultant is growing in this world. Why? Because people realize that they get into the thing they really, really care about, and when they get in that thing they really, really care about, they lose the perspective of the person that they're attempting to share it with. So what do? They find the consultant who says, I don't know anything, but I'm really good at not knowing anything. So please bring me into your system. So that first time, we're going to think about the things. This is where you're going to lead from. Second time, you're going to feel those things. Nothing is going to change within the circuit. So the beautiful thing is the second time, you're going to be able to go, ooh, I'm going to get into my body. I'm going to pay attention to the energy that maybe speaks a different voice than the voices that we often hear externally. If this was like a workout, and we were looking at like a biometric readout, the second time through the circuit is going to be the time that we're going up here. Because we have a grasp of it, but we are not bored with it yet, so we're willing to experience it. It's like second date. And then, everything else, okay. The third time through the circuit, we're going to lower our efficiency by breathing manually. Our wonderful little medulla oblongata, that part of our brain that does things that are really important for us, like beating our heart, blinking our eyes, ooh, I have an itch, so I'm going to scratch my itch, and our breath. A weird, beautiful thing about our human existence as well. We can all breathe in together. And exhale. But we cannot. Don't beat your heart. Don't beat it yet. Don't beat your heart. Don't beat. Okay, now, beep, 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 beep. You can't do that, right? But there's something really beneficial about our ability to manualize our breath. Let's say all of a sudden I picked up this imaginary ball and I threw it at Shannon. Shannon, if she wasn't ready for it, it's going to go what? Why? Because her body's saying something externally has happened that may not be safe. I need to protect myself. Well, here's what happens when we experience life, when we experience things. This human doing, we get really good at things. We get into automated movements. And all of a sudden we get automated, and we think, haha, now I'm going to be able and ready to do it. And what do we end up doing? Losing the power of it. You know, I love a space like this because it's pluralistic. We're going to be able to express lots of different pathways to you. Like I'm showing my you, like my me, your you. Meditation for me is not the clearing of the mind. Actually, we think physiologically what happens. We are currently doing and going and doing and going, and all of a sudden we meditate. What starts happening in our mind? All the things that we are wonderfully malleable, capable of holding on and not dealing with, they start pouring out. So if we actually want to sell meditation really good, rather than it being the practice of clearing your mind, no, it's the practice of messing up your mind and going, I'm going to sit in the midst of my human being and human doing and watch all of these things get their moment because they don't get their moment normally. So what ends up happening? We get good at the thing. I'll go back to a fitness analogy for a moment. Cool, I'm going to the new gym. Oh, first time we're going to go sit in the back, watch, try to figure out what's happening. Okay, over time, I move to the middle of the studio. I'm getting it. Oh my gosh, the coach just like winked at me like, I know your name now. And they said my name, they looked on my body, and they said, oh, it's their birthday today. Hey, happy birthday, JC. It's like, oh, I'm going to the front of the room. I'm right next to the person. I go for happy hour with the person who's leading the class, and then after a while I get bored because it's the same thing, and I realize it's really been this show to make me feel like I'm a part of something. And what ends up happening? We get bored with it. And we find the next newest thing. We live in the efficiency model of sooner or later this is going to be easy, You're going to get the thing down to where you're not going to have to be uncomfortable anymore. And what do we end up finding? That we want the discomfort. We want the positive friction. So the third time through this experience, we're going to pay attention to what our breath is doing in the midst of the thing. And the second we get into the routine of doing without paying attention to the breath, you're like, no, right now, we're not thinking about the thing, we're not feeling the thing. We're watching what happens to that life force inside of us when we are experiencing life. 45 seconds, each through these six moments, then we'll talk for a little bit. We'll think, we'll feel, we'll breathe, and then we'll go, huh. So the one tool you need on the table, there's a bunch of blank white paper. If you can get one or two sheets in front of you, that'll be a tool that we will use. Also, we will be standing and moving a little bit. So if you want to make sure there's space next to your table, you may want to use your chair as a balancing tool. You may move at a rate of speed that may increase body temperature, so you may want some water nearby. But we'll move 45 seconds, 6 activities, 3 times, and then we'll chat. All right, everybody. So please stand up. As you stand up, go ahead and start doing a squat, okay? So whenever you're ready, send your hips behind you and allow your knees to follow and then stand back up again. Think about this action in your body. Keep going. Your 45 seconds to think about this action. There's no amount of reps, there's no cadence, there's no pace. It doesn't have to be reps. You could be like, I'm gonna live in a squat for a bit. I'm going to imagine how I can think about what my body is doing in different ways. What is moving? What is changing? What is happening? If all of a sudden you go into feeling, invite this moment back into a cranial exercise. What is your brain doing as your body moves? Hey, 3, 2, 1. Stand on one foot. You're here for the next 45. Feel free to maybe close your eyes or move your arms. What do you think about right now? How often is movement put into a space of doing rather than being? Right now, are you perceiving yourself as a now? I am a stand on one foot thing, as opposed to a verb, an evolution, right? How is the mind working now differently than it was 20 seconds ago? What is there to learn here about yourself within this shape, this experience, this posturization? 3, 2, 1. Stand on your other foot pose. There's been some beautiful conversation about posturization, right? About external things changing posture of thought, of eyes, of heart, of feeling, breath. As you think about this moment right now, are you thinking about not falling down? Are you thinking about trying to fall down, trying to find that quote-unquote edge? Are you thinking about the fruit will bear itself if I accomplish X? I don't know. But what is that mind offering you as you experience life here? Hey, 3, 2, 1. Bring your feet nice and wide. Take a nice squat. And then as you stand back up, take a nice hinge. Fingertips meet, hips go back. Stand up. Seat goes down. Stand up. Seat goes back. Are you thinking about how maybe you normally don't think about the full capacity of your body? Right? As if life happens to you, not through you. Right? What's the difference between a squat and a hinge? Your body knows. The industry, the outside world maybe hasn't done a good job of explaining your capacity, but think. Move down and then move back. Just think about the engineering of your body. 3, 2, 1, sit down. Close your eyes. Begin to write your name over. So right now you may go, what do I want to feel? That's a question of the mind, but you're going to know if the accomplishment is happening from the body. You may be being influenced by people around you by going, okay, we're supposed to move this way. In other words, we're supposed to feel this way. And all of a sudden I see Kendra who's holding a squat at the bottom. And I see other people respond. I see people looking at depth. Other people looking at rep. Feel this action. Where do you feel this action? Is it a heart feeling? It's like, ooh, I love squats. Or is it a, ooh, my butt feels this squat? It could be butt, it could be heart, it could be both. 3, 2, 1, stand on 1 foot pose. What is there to feel here? And perhaps there's some realization that maybe when you move, you dissociate. Maybe you go, I don't feel. And then all of a sudden, within this moment of curiosity and courage, you go, what could I feel? You want to feel like you're taking a risk. Well, what would a risk look like? You want to feel like you're giving yourself a break. You hold onto a chair. I see shoes coming off. Wonderful, right? It's not the voice on the microphone saying, here's this thing that's happening to you, but it's that voice inside saying, hey, this is happening through me. You're here for 3, 2, 1, stand on other foot pose. I see people rolling out ankles, finding small voices, quiet voices that are amplifying to match the louder voices of maybe balance, or quad, or hamstring. If this was an opportunity to feel, and no one was going to tell you the 5 steps to feeling, where would you go? Why are you doing the things that you are doing? What voice inside you is offering that idea, that pathway? Hey, 3, 2, 1, feet wide, squat, hinge. Now again, the suggestion is squat and hinge. Maybe you go, you know what? The hinge is where I want to feel. The squat is where I want to feel. Or maybe one feels really good and one feels really bad. The interesting thing about music, harmony is boring. Harmony and dissonance is what makes music music. Where we get to this place where we go, it's moving, either inside or outside. Maybe we are the dissonance, the music is the harmony, and we go, that's what I'm being pulled into. But for a few short moments and minutes, what is there to find within this movement? Hey, 3, 2, 1, sit down. Write your name. Eyes closed. What do you feel when you put something inside, outside, that can live? What is in your name? What is within the art, the craft, of you expressing yourself in a way that you've been taught how to express yourself? From brain to heart, from heart to muscle, from muscle to nerve, from nerve to fingers. to the energy coming directly in to Shannon. Do the things you need to do to clean the slate, to proverbially go outside, to allow energy to be felt and moved. This third round is about getting less good at whatever weirdness we are currently doing. Meaning, if the alien's walking right now and it's like, excuse me, beings, what are you doing? And you'd go, This is not something about getting good. It's actually about the opposite. Right now, can you start going, I'm going to breathe in right now, and I'm going to breathe out right now. Not at the collective cadence, but at your cadence. Stand up. And begin to squat. Maybe what you find is that movement pairs really well with certain elements of your breath. Yeah, and maybe all of a sudden different elements of body start moving, by golly. Right? If we would think like weight training, right? Inhale would be kind of squat down, and exhale would be exertion, stand up. If this was yogic breathing, it may be kind of the opposite. Inhale up, exhale down. You may go, I'm going to find some polyrhythm within my breath and my movement. I'm going to not attach my breath to my movement and see if my movement affects my breath or if my breath affects my movement. And all of a sudden it's like you have a new best friend who's coming outside to play with you. 3, 2, 1, stand on 1 foot pose. Perhaps your awareness of breath all of a sudden just went away because you're not, quote, quote, moving. I'm sorry, stillness is not something that any human ever gets to experience until after life is done. You are still in an evolution right now. Can breath maybe take some of the rigidity of standing, quote, quote, still and soften it? We write poems about trees as the wind blows through and the leaves change without the notice of the eye. Can you create that same kind of nuance right now in your breath being the wind, being that presence that you sense? All of a sudden I see people attempting to catch themselves and smiles present on face. Hey, 3, 2, 1, stand on second foot pose. Is the element of your being that instigates change. Right? When we go, I'm going to hide, I'm going to stick, I'm going to incurvatu say, I'm going to curve in on myself from the outside world. Sooner or later, that inhale says, move, beautiful being. Fill up, beautiful being. And then exhale says, use what you have because it's here right now. Maybe all of a sudden your breath goes, I'm going to smile a little bit because there's external movement again and I can feel the impact of my work. So often the wellness journey, the fullness journey, the process of growth journey is lost because the growth or change is so small. Right now is one of those great moments where you can feel big movements, big body movements. Seat. How does breath affect you creating something external to yourself? When you name yourself, when you talk about yourself, when you put yourself in front of others, how does breath enter into that moment? As you right now put pen to paper, eyes closed,